I want you to think about how weird this actually is. Over 50% of men, and this was a statistic I read somewhere, so it might not even be true, but over 50% of men have got gynecomastia. Gynecomastia isn't just man boobs, it's like a medical condition where there's breast mass in the man. That's 50% have got a medical condition of breast mass. What other percentage do you think of the other 50 have just got like man boobs because of fat? Probably 10, 20, 25. 75% of men have got titties. And this isn't supposed to be a funny video. Because I want you to think right now, what has happened to the world where so many men have developed like women? Where so many men have become complacent, anxious, depressive, suicidal, lazy, unmotivated, undriven, lonely. If it honestly seems like less than 5 to 10% of men are actually living what would be classed as a good life these days. I'm glad that you're on this journey alongside me, because it was on this pathway of self-improvement that I was able to get into this like 10% of guys who actually are happy with life and able to feel energetic. But why have our brothers got titties? Is it as simple as just saying low testosterone? With all the plastics around us and the sugar and the alcohol. Because I was in the gym, and in the changing rooms, in the sauna, I can't help but see this, especially guys who look like they're over 30. Every one of them has got man boobs. Every single one of them. It's just so normal to see that now that you don't overthink it. But every one of them has got like that mass right there, in like, as if they've developed like women. Like they've got wider hips, softer voices. This isn't like, I'm not trying to be mean or saying anything as an insult, but more as a warning. The way that a lot of men are living leads to titties, erectile dysfunction, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. These are the results of the modern life. If a lot of men are like here, then you must assume that the normal way to live is what's getting them there. The average way to live is what gets them the average results of life. Because on average, a man is unhappy. On average, he is unfit. On average, a man is fat. So if these are the results of an average life, what is the average life? What's the input for this output? The input: alcohol, sleep deprivation, content consumption, porn, video games, and this is going to hurt everyone, anime, and everyone's like, oh, anime, whoa, Hamza just said something bad about anime, that's crazy, guys. It's not so much anime or video games as a media. It's simply that they generally bring an audience to spend a good few hours just sat there, inactive. Because there's always this like one anime guy who's jacked, right? Like in real life. And he disagrees with my videos, and he's like, oh, well, actually, Hamza, oh. But it's like, bro, you're the outlier, so relax. It's like, on average, people who are really, really into some TV show, they're probably not going to be healthy people, because you have to be sat there for 5 hours a day watching this shit. Video games are the same. It's so easy to be sat there for hours just watching it. Generally, that brings the kind of personality where you are instant gratification seeking, where you are just sat there, where you are eating snacks. And of course, there's outliers. Of course, there's some video gamers who are jacked. But on average, it's going to be bad for you. The unhealthy food around us, sugar, seed oils, and the plastics, the estrogenics around us, everything's made out of plastics and BPA. And that's the newest thing, is like receipts, like gas station receipts, or when you order food or something and it comes with a receipt, that's got a hyper amount of BPA on it. We touch these things, we ingest these things, and it's got an impact on our body that we don't even realize. I've been feeling the last few days soreness in my nipples. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Last few days, I felt it a little bit, I've noticed that my nipples are getting puffy. I don't know if you can see that. My nipples are like slightly puffier than usual, and they do feel a little bit sore and sensitive. And I remember I had this same feeling when I was like 15 years old, and that's when my titty mass first started to grow. As a young man going through puberty who should have become like hyper masculine and everything, I developed like a girl instead. I don't know if you can see my titties, but and I've done a lot of work. I've went to the gym. I've hit 1,000 workouts. I've trained chest. I've got to 110 kg bench press or something. To be one of these guys who it seems like, the world and your genetics is against you, it's a really sad experience. It's high body fat percentage, that like soft pudgy stomach but the skinny arms. Having that at age 17, even though I was skinny, I still had this like weirdly like fat stomach and fat titties. Like, I just saw a video of myself, when you go on your phone on like the Google Photos photo album thing, and it just shows you like, oh, a memory from 6 years ago, or this was like a memory from 3 years ago. It was just before I started YouTube, and I was in Manchester, my student city, and it was in COVID, and it was just when I had like trimmed my hair off for the first time, and I've just set my camera there, so I'm just kind of like, turning to the side, and you literally just see that I've got like titty mass. You just see it. And I was looking at it, I was thinking like, how does a young man have that? And straight away, of course, I was like, well, think about what you were doing at that time. You were playing video games for hours a day. You were smoking weed, and that's been known to increase your prolactin. And weed has been shown to decrease testosterone, and you were smoking it every day. And you were eating over 100 grams of sugar, maybe 200 grams of sugar every day. That's almost as bad as the anabolic diet. Oh, here we go. Greg's gonna make 4 videos about me now. Relax, man. Just chill, bro. I'm gonna reply to your old ones at some point, man. It's been lost in the mail. Think about how I was living at that time. That's what I deserved. I deserved to look like that. I deserved to have that like soft titty mass, because I was eating horrible food. I was just eating sugar and desserts and ordering like fast food from Deliveroo and Uber Eats and stuff. I was always sleep deprived. I was fapping constantly. And when I wasn't fapping, right, you think like you're a legend for having sex. Having sex, it's the same thing. I was fapping and having sex so frequently, and I don't say this as to sound cool or anything, but having too much sex is actually a problem, because either way, when you ejaculate, your prolactin goes up, and when prolactin goes up, your testosterone goes down. Whether or not you're having sex in a relationship or not, it's like, it's still gonna mess up your hormones if you constantly just keep doing it. I think about the way that I was living. Sleep deprived, night shifts, poor food, masturbation, drugs. How could I have expected to look any different? When you see that video of me, I literally look like sick. I literally look like unhealthy. I don't look like a guy who's fulfilled in life. Like, you can see that physically on me. We've got years of damage to reverse. But I am certain that if you get onto the right pathway, the right diet, physical and mental training, supplements, lifestyle, avoiding, trying to limit your plastics in your environment, especially around your balls, like making sure you wear 100% cotton pants or shorts or underwear. Maybe sauna, and these healthy things. You get onto doing as many of them as you can, and you start doing them, and you pretty much never stop till years later, your testosterone goes through the roof. I think that's a pretty good goal for young men to work towards. If you can afford it, I would suggest for you to maybe consider getting a full blood test. There was a company I use. They've not paid me actually to do that. I probably should get like a sponsorship from them, but it's this company that they made these custom supplements for me. So they sent a nurse, she did the blood test, they sent me a report, they know exactly what's in my blood. Oh, I've got low hemoglobin. Oh, I've got high creatine kinase, and I've got this, and I've got this, and iron, and this, like literally to show exactly what I've got. And then they put together that this isn't paid. I'm not even gonna mention the company name, just so you know I'm not like trying to scam you or anything. But they just put it together in like a supplement, which literally is customized for me. Like it's got each individual ingredient that I need. You can see like it's each individual thing. I got it. I started looking at it. I looked at, I don't know if the camera will show, but like it's got each individual like little micro ingredient thing. See the different colors in there? It's like each bit is like a little, like there's different bits which builds up. Oh, there's 1,000 nanograms of like, this is the list here. There's 1,000 of this, of vitamin A, and there's 20 milligrams of vitamin B6, a massive list, right? I got one pill out and just looked at it and I was like, this is how the 1% win. You know, all the normies online, they'll disagree, won't they? What would a normie, maybe you're a norm, you are probably a normie. What would like a normal person say about supplements? Be honest, what would a normal person say? What's everyone on YouTube just parroting, always saying, supplements aren't important, just do the diet, right? Oh, it doesn't even matter, just save your money, right? That can be, if you're totally broke, then okay, fine. But let me just tell you something. Every high level guy is on shit like this. The really top tier men, they've all got custom made supplements. They get stem cell research. They're all on TRT. They've got physiotherapists. They've got all these things to counteract the years of living in our modern world. So I got this. I was just looking at this one pill, literally just thinking like, this is a competitive edge. Because when your micronutrients are all fine, suddenly you're going to be focused more. You're going to be less likely to develop poor symptoms like titties and low testosterone. Because probably a large part of these things that we go through, like depression and you know, like fat deposits and weakness, laziness, fatigue, probably a lot of it just comes through our diet and the things that we consume. I'd like to dedicate a part of my life, maybe soon, like when it's really the focus. Right now my focus is really on business, but when it is the focus, to dedicate a lot of time to becoming the most optimum version of myself physically and mentally. To try and set some like really, you know, the way I set business goals and YouTube goals, it's always been quite big, isn't it? Imagine if I do the same thing for like optimize, like biohacking or whatever it is, like to optimize my longevity, my life, my physical health, strength, and mental health. So I set a goal like, okay, get to above 1,000 nanograms deciliter, like the level that people on TRT get to. Try and get to that naturally. Fix all the other random health stats. Pack on the most muscle that I've ever put on in the shortest amount of time. Get like a rock solid, like bulletproof mental state. Because it's with these things that you can achieve. You get to live like a guy who is a warrior amongst boys. I don't say these things to put down like the average man, but I am saddened at the state of men these days. And I understand why it's so difficult, because it took me years to get out of that rut. It took me years to be able to just make some progress. When the average guy is starting off, like his baseline, his foundation is wide hips and titties, things are a lot harder for us than they were for our previous generations. In some ways. You see, with previous generations, they had these wars, they had these Great Depressions and everything, and we kind of like didn't think about those things growing up. But I think our hard times are here. I think it started with first the weakness of men starting. It started with the addictions that have formed, and now the harder like financial times are here. There's chaos, and like World War III's pretty much been going on for a good few months now, even though it's not been declared that it's a war, but it technically is. That, I don't know if that's a controversial belief or not, but that's my thing anyway. I do believe World War III already started a while ago. What you're seeing in like Ukraine, and I think in the history books they will end up starting World War III at a date before the current date, where they'll say, oh, on this date China and Russia did this, and on this date China, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Russia, India, and I think South Africa, BRICS. They made their own system called BRICS, and that became their own currency and everything. I think in the history books they'll end up talking about a time that's already went past when they describe in World War III. If there's ever a time to become a stronger man and to get rid of your titties, it's probably now. How do you do that? You get onto self-improvement, you stop eating shit, you stop drinking, bro, come on. You stop smoking weed. There's no value gained, and my video on weed recently started getting a lot of views. It's just titled weed, so you could probably just search like Hamza weed. And the amount of people who have commented on it recently, just coping and saying, oh, well, this is just you. Weed makes me creative. In the video, I literally say like, oh, there's going to be people who comment saying weed makes me creative. And there was literally hundreds of people who commented the exact same thing. But weed makes me creative. No, it doesn't. You know what weed does? It increases your prolactin, so you get gynecomastia. Weed gives you titties. Oh, but it makes me creative, bro. Yeah, I love to make music whilst I'm smoking weed. Like, tell me you're a loser without telling me you're a loser, bro. I love to smoke weed whilst I make music, man. Just listen to my SoundCloud, bro. Like, help me out, man. Share my link, bro. I'm a 24-year-old rapper. I'm just trying to get started, man. Fire emoji. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.